After an enthralling conclusion to the Fuel Sportsman Grand National Series at the Iowa Speedway on Wednesday night, for the first time in quite a few months, we're back in the fold for the Sportsman Series. Hi, hello, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you to the beautiful Auto Club Speedway for the first race of season number 5 of the Fuel Sportsman Series, the AAA Insurance 100. And a pleasant good evening to everybody tuning into tonight's live coverage here of the season opener for the Fuel Sportsman Series, 5th season of competition here on your home for the Fuel Racing League, the NASRN, and up in the North American Sim Racing Network booth for tonight's race. My name is Trey Wright, and oh boy, do we have a treat in store for you guys and gals here tonight with just about 7 minutes to go here in practice. We've got our opening race of the season here at this legendary facility, and ladies and gentlemen, like we've been saying all week long, we are proving that the Auto Club Speedway was not in a quote-unquote booming real estate market. So we'll go ahead and get the NR2003 audio turned on so everybody can hear these beautiful engines for a brand new mod for the Sportsman Series. If this looks a little bit familiar to those who watch regular on the NASRN, that's because we've been introducing the long-anticipated SNG05 Cup mod for the Fuel Sportsman Series here in season number 5. And ironically, we're at the same exact track where the Gen 1 cars for the 1998, the Cup 98 cars were retired at the Michigan International Speedway. We're here in Fontana, California at this perfect facility. And right now, Emi Schizzato, top of the charts in the number 97 machine. After coming close to winning on Wednesday night, an absolute chaotic end to the Iowa Corn 141K. Schizzato top of the boards by 0.2 of a second over the 100 of Apollo Hyde, and we've got some fresh paint for some of these drivers out on track, so we'll meet some of the drivers out in here, beginning with Emi Schizzato in that matte black number 97 machine, looking to, I guess it's a little bit of a David Gilliland throwback. When David Gilliland won at the Nashville Speedway back in, 2007, 2008. Back when he was, I think the only a Busch Grand National Series regular that season to win a Busch Grand National Series race. Back in here, Corey Stolhood in the NRG number 45 Nissan Sentra. I believe that's a Sentra. It's a Nissan Altima, I should say. They're not making those anymore. So glad to see an abandoned manufacturer out on track. Here's Kenny Compost. Glad to see Buddy back out on track. He's going to be driving the 32 this season for the Fuel Sportsman Series in the Embassy Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Behind him, you've got the 64 All Saints. JDRF Dodge Charger. It's going to be Ace Racer in the 64. Crystal Bennett will return to the 84 machine with Hooters on the hood of that 84 Charger for this race tonight. They're also going to have Monster Energy and Betty Crocker on the hood for later on this season. Back in here, you've got Sean T, the 00 machine, and that Dodge. A lot of Dodges on the grid, but you got a Ford Fusion of Apollo Hyde rocking around here in that Tourist, with Waste Management coming on board here for tonight and this season as a whole. With 4 minutes to go in qualifying, there's the 96 of Jason Stereo back in the Unical 76 colors and that Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the only Monte SS on the grid, and that's because I painted that myself. And you know what? Bringing over some of the templates over from the Mission Barbecue Cup Series where we run the 07 Monte SS. Stereo looking solid so far right now, 18th on the board. Blast from the past, Ray Lazonga and the number 9 Casey Kane Dodge Dealers Dodge, driving that Charger right now towards the bottom of the standings in 17th. Right behind them, you've got Ike Durbin with Millennium Autosport back in full force as they're transitioning over from the Pontiacs to the Dodge Chargers. Like Durbin in the 86, you've got Mini Minister in the 22 with Caterpillar on the board. And that Dodge Charger, like we said, a lot of Dodges on the grid, and there's Rafaela Sorensen. We saw Rafaela for a brief moment in time, and they're in the infield in that Coors Light Dodge. Glad to see her back on, and both drivers for REM Racing on track here tonight. Both of them have had some relative success here in the past at the Auto Club Speedway. There's Vincenzo Focusato in the 37 with all the Millennium Autosport cars back in their respective Kodak color-coded automobiles. Drew Fast in a beautiful Mopar-sponsored Dodge. Getting around, trying to get around Tyler Stallhood in the Conway number 7 machine. That's a throwback to Colin Brown back in the mid-2000s and the late 2000s of the Craftsman Truck Series and the Camping World Truck Series, but a great car painted by none other than Tyler Mallon. Got one car on the outside wall. That's Corey Stallhood around in the 45. Blake Warren representing the Budweiser 8 colors of Dale Earnhardt Jr., and that should just about do it for the 20 cars that have so far put a lap down on track. We're owing you a look at Tate Dorsey, who'll be driving the Viagra number 6 car. And we are just about nearing the end of practice here, so we'll take a look at a race analysis for tonight. We expect about 21 cars to take to the track. No sign of Don LaPrade yet tonight. We'll see if that 74 car will make a late appearance here with $1:30 to go in practice. But it's going to be 50 laps for the 100-mile race here at the Auto Club Speedway, and pretty much the exact same situations in terms of the pit window and the track analysis as we had at Michigan about a month and a half ago. It's a 2-mile D-oval. You got 18 degrees of banking in the corners, and going to be seeing about maybe 27 to 29, maybe a little bit shorter than that. I think Tyler Stallhood was running 25 to 27s on the board, which 25 to 27s, that's going to cause those cars to come in right at the halfway point. And again, you look at the track itself as Minister will spin out in the 22. Classic D-oval, very similar in shape to the Daytona International Speedway and the sister track to the Michigan International Speedway and the Texas World Speedways, which also been featured here on the NASRN. It's also a little bit similar to the Talladega Super Speedway, as we we'll have our 3 events for the Great American Big One tomorrow night as we look at our upcoming broadcasts here on the NESRN. Live at the Talladega Super Speedway tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time. Part of 3 consecutive broadcasts on Saturday night, beginning with the C-Main for the Great American Big One. First time that we're bringing back the Big One, NR2003 event since 2020. We got the C-Main, the B-Main, and the A-Main, and all 3 of those races absolutely incredible. You can all catch that tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern right here on the NESRN. We'll get back on the FMGTC side of things this next Friday as well after a week break of broadcast with the Fuel Sportsman, where the Fuel Grand National Series taking a month-long hiatus before season number 10 will open up. We got the qualifying races at Michigan at 4 o'clock on Friday before we go back down south to the Rockingham Speedway for the second race of the season for the Fuel Sportsman Series. That'll be at 9:50 Eastern here on the NESRN. We got the Busch Summer Bash proper race for the 8th race of the season for the FMGTC next Saturday. And then next Sunday on the 9th, we return to the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series at the Iowa Speedway for the penultimate race of Segment 2 for the 2026 season. We end off our next half-dozen slate of races here on the NESRN at the Myrtle Beach Speedway for race number 3 of the season for the Fuel Sportsman Series, as we're just about ready to wrap up things here in practice. Taking a look at the Season 5 schedule, all 12 races on the board here, beginning with Auto Club tonight. And we've got a wide array of tracks here for this season. We've got Rockingham and Myrtle Beach coming up here for the first 3 races of the season. And those denoted with an underline and an asterisk next to the name will be the ones that are being broadcasted here this season. Of course, Las Vegas back on the board. Cannot wait for that. That final week of August is going to be absolutely fun. Got Daytona, you got the Lexington Speedway, so a couple of super speedways back-to-back. Old Spice, Hillside, Grand Junction, and Papyrus. 4 fictional raceways. In fact, 5 fictional raceways right in a row with one another. I'm super stoked for Hillside and Papyrus to be on the board here again. Of course, Papyrus, we're going to be using the version that I edited here on the NESRN for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. And finally, we'll get down to brass tacks with race number 12 of the season, live from the Homestead Miami Speedway to round out the 13-week calendar. 12 races on the board with an off week for Labor Day. And that's how they will line up here in season number 5 for the Fuel Sportsman Series here on your home for the Fuel Grand National Series, the North American Sim Racing Network. Qualifying is on the board here with 20 cars going on, and right now, with 3 minutes to go here in Q, it is a beautiful night for racing at the Auto Club Speedway. A perfect 70 degrees, no wind on the board, and a lot of drivers coming over, such as Brie Lazonga, Shanti, and a couple others coming over from the Fuel Grand National Series as well. You know, you got your regulars. This Ace Racer, top of the charts, a 38.20828. Crystal Bennett will best that with a 38.8, and now Ike Durbin top of the charts with a 35.5, and Drew Fast a 38.513. A couple of hundredths of a second faster than Ike Durbin. Let's go more down the board. Keon Daly is going to be in the 98 car this evening. Late addition for that driver with Sean Douglas in the 43, Hunter Nelson in the 77, and we'll go over everybody else as they file through here. You know, we'll go ahead and add a quick number tag for Keon Daly in that 98 machine. Not sure which car he's driving. I believe it's probably going to be an in-game car. Let's see, do we have a 98? You know, we'll use the one for the Great American. We'll use the one we were using for the Great American Big One, the one that Alexander Rowe will be using tomorrow night. For the number tag for Keon Daly, I believe that should just be about everybody. We got should have a number tag for just about everybody on the board. Not sure which car that the 98 car is going to be running, but we'll be able to identify him at least on the board here. And Apollo Hyde, a 38.332 on her second lap, actually on her first lap. Drew Fast putting down a 38.4. Right now, good enough for the outside pole position. Emmy Schizzato, a 1 minute 38. I believe she spun on her opening lap, and that's going to drop her down. She's probably going to end up starting midfield at the best with 46 seconds to go in Q. And how about a field of 20 cars so far? I believe we'll have 21 with Keon Daly as the late addition, so we'll exactly have a half of a boat filled here at the Auto Club Speedway. Well, once again, we are so excited to be back here for the Fuel Sportsman Series. The first time we've had a broadcast here in quite some time. Trying to remember when that Michigan race was. We'll pull up the NASRN schedule over on my end. That race was... Where were you? That was all the way back on June 21st, so about just over a month's time, as qualifying has been completed here at Auto Club Speedway. With Crystal Bennett, her time is not going to be allowed. Mini Minister and Rafaela Sorensen did not put down time, so 21 cars will start this race. 18 of them will have put down times as we get a good look at the starting lineup for tonight's race, with Apollo Hyde and Drew Fast on the front row for the season opener for the AAA Insurance 100 here at Auto Club. Vincenzo Focusato, Ike Durbin will be in row number 2 with the two drivers for the Millennium Autosport duo right now side by side on the second row. Ike Durbin and Ace Racer will... Actually, Vincenzo Focusato and Ike Durbin are going to be in the second row. Ace Racer, a great qualifying time for that 64. He and Tate Dorsey will be in row number 3. Corey Stallhood and RJ Bishop, who switched numbers in the offseason, will be in row 4. Tyler Stallhood and Kenny Campos will round out the top 10 in row number 5. Sean T and Blake Warren will be in row 6. Keon Daly and Sean Douglas will be in row 7. Brie Lazonga and Jason Stereo will make up row number 8. Hunter Nelson and Emmy Schizzato, row 9. Minnie Minister and Crystal Bennett will be in row number 10. And Rafaela Sorensen with the only car on row number 11 to round out the 21-car grid for this evening's race. There's Kenny Campos in that 32 machine. And there is Hunter Nelson driving in his third career race here on the NASRN for the Fuel Sportsman Series in that Travis Quapple 77 machine. Of course, everybody knows the legend of Carson Quapple, who just recently won his first career NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at the Brickyard of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So everybody cooking with their respective quap pots after that one. Have to see what Nelson can do with another beautiful automobile for that 81 machine. RJ Bishop putting down some hot laps there in that 81 car. Is Keon Daly right now top of the charts, showing that it does not have a proper number tag in there. I'm wondering, did I save that as a PNG? I believe I did. And that is what we call a bummer so far. We're going to go ahead and take a quick timeout while we go ahead and get that fixed as we try and find what that 98 car looks like. It's just going to be a Dodge. We'll see if we have it in the server, actually. Let's see, is it in here? I do not see it in the car files folder, so we're just going to have two Casey Kane looking Dodges on the board pretty much. And the good news for us, we've got 10 minutes of time left here, so we'll go ahead and get everything figured out. So we should have everything figured out, and we do at least have a number tag for that 98 machine. Of course, it is the opening weekend of a Sportsman competition, so everything's going to be just a little bit slow to get underway. Got the onboard camera for Kenny Campos in the 32. We've got a little bit of time to go here in happy hour. That graphic fixed as well in the meantime, but sometimes you forget to write happy hour instead of practice, and that tends to be an issue. For some people that are perfectionists, such as myself, looking more around the board here, there's stereo in that 96 car. Well, you'll look at some more drivers with 11 cars taken to the track. Of course, Sean T, a driver that has been in the server for a lot longer than most people have known here. Of course, going to be driving that 00, trying to see what they're sponsored by. Sunquest Dodge Charger and that 00 machine. There's Tate Dorsey in the Mark Martin Viagra number 6 car out on track. Glad to see him on the boards, as go ahead and say that, hey, you also didn't put in the correct thing for Brie Lazonga as well.
I don't know about that. I think we need to check those scoring lines. I think I was ahead of you.
We'll go ahead and get that saved as well here. Apologize for the delay, but you know what? Helps a lot when we've got these long happy hour sessions here for Fuel Sportsman. And we should have got that fixed there for Brie Lazonga, so should be able to get back on here. Currently Drew Fast top of the charts in that 4 machine, and I've got a good feeling about Fast here tonight. Starting inside the top 5, in fact, he's going to be starting on the front row in the outside pole position. You know, we've talked about him a lot this week. He was very close to winning the Fuel Grand National race on Wednesday at Iowa. You know, and he has had a couple of really good opportunities to try and get his first ever win here in Fuel. I think he might have a Super Speedway Series win to his credit. He's not going to get a win here in happy hour as he goes wide into the corner. Spins the car around, trying to get it refired. We'll look back more towards the grid. We saw Apollo Hyde briefly, the defending winner here at the Auto Club Speedway for the first ever Fuel Sportsman Series live stream we had here on the NESRN. Of course, also going around in that race, don't see the 84 on track anymore, but there is Apollo Hyde in that Waste Management 100 machine. Crystal went down spun around a couple of times in that race 1 year ago. And Apollo trying to grab that gear and get off and underway. 2:49 to go here in happy hour, and there's RJ Bishop spinning around that 81 car. And new season, or rather a silly season, has really been very silly for a lot of these drivers, as you go to the announcement last night that RJ Bishop made. We can find it here on the Discord server. RJ Bishop is going to be he's going to be forming his own team for next season for the Fuel Sportsman, or the Fuel Grand National Series. Bishop Family Racing, which will consist of the 5 of Victor Nunez, the 47 of Noah Hart, and driving the 81 is going to be RJ Bishop. He's not going to be driving, looking how that car is looking right there, with Tyler Stolhood right behind him in that Conway automobile like we were talking about. There's Sean Taylor in the 43 machine with STP on the board. Glad to see the old Petty Blue colors still alive and well. Blake Warren in the 8. We talked about the 77 of Hunter Nelson, and that should just about do it for everybody on the board. Vincenzo Focusato in that 37, getting underway. We mentioned Dunlaprod, not here just yet. We do have 24 people on the server. Got 21 cars. We got myself broadcasting. We got the server. I believe we might have an extra person in here, a late addition. Should be... Oh, the pace car. Pace car technically counts as well, I believe. So we should be fine on that front. But once again, another big thanks to everybody for tuning in to tonight's broadcast here on the NESRN. Just about to get underway here from the Auto Club Speedway for 50 laps of action here at this beautiful facility in Fontana, California. It is going to be a blast here, to say the very least. With 21 cars, I think the what was the size of the grid we had here last year for last year's Sportsman race at Auto Club? It was just about probably 10 cars less. I think we had somewhere in the ballpark of 11 to 15. We'll go ahead and find out here in a jiffy. It's one of the first races we did live here on the NESRN for the Fuel Sportsman Series, and I think it was also the first one where we had a live ticker too. If we can get past the ads on YouTube. Come on. Let's go. So we got the final lap, which should have the full race results as well. Somewhere on the board, we'll get to it in just a moment, but Drew Fast, fastest in happy hour, 38.295. A little bit faster than his qualifying time. We'll see what these guys can do here in just a little moment. But we'll send things downstairs for pre-race ceremonies to get tonight's race underway. The first race of the evening, or the first race of the season, I should say, for the Fuel Sportsman Series here tonight at the Auto Club Speedway. While we go ahead and get our ticker and everything reset. We'll go downstairs in a brief moment. And I don't think we said it yet, but we had 12 cars in last year's Sportsman Series race here at the Auto Club Speedway. So exactly 9 more entries. And that doesn't include defending series champion of Dunlaprod, as Sean T trying to get around Kenny Campos. That should just about do it. Happy hour is over. Field is heading on to the front straightaway, heading down the pit lane, ready to grid up here. So as the field will get ready to put the race under the green flag conditions, we'll do the same as we send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to fire the engines for race number 12 of the race number 1 of the 12 race slate here at the Auto Club Speedway for season number 5 of the Fuel Sportsman Series, the AAA Insurance 100, live from Fontana, California.
Drivers, start your engines!
And we are ready to roll off here with 21 cars taken to the Auto Club Speedway. No surprise to see Apollo Hyde on the pole position, looking to pick up exactly where she left off from 1 year ago. She starts first with a qualifying time of 38.332. Drew Fast will make up the outside of the front row here tonight, looking for his first career Fuel Racing Series win. Racing League win, I should say, and the runner-up finisher from last year's race, Vincenzo Focusato, looking to finish one position better from where he finished last year and 2 positions better to where he starts here tonight. He's got his teammate Vivek Durbin on the outside pole position. Ace Racer, Tate Dorsey will round out the starting 6. Corey Stolhood, RJ Bishop, Tyler Stolhood, Kenny Campos, Sean T, Blake Warren, one of the Dodges on the grid here, the 98 of Keon Daly, Sean Taylor, making up the rest of the top 10. Here for tonight's contest, 50 laps going on the board for the 21 cars taken to the track. 5 laps to go, the point of no return here on the ovals at this 2-mile D-Oval in Southern California. Beautiful night for racing here at the Auto Club Speedway, and of course the grandstands packed to the very gills here as they know that they're about to witness something special, the first race of the season for the Fuel Sportsman Series here tonight in Southern California. Chevrolet Pace Truck is about to make the left-hand turn down the pit lane. Glad to see the official Pace Truck of the NR2003 offline season making its way to the grid as the field will head towards the race's restart zone. The green flag is out and away for the first time in season number 5. Let's go racing here in SoCal. Oh, an Ace Racer goes around already. Big mess, Corey Stolhood. The 8 of Blake Warren involved as well. And our first caution flag of the evening will come on lap number 1 of the night. And that is not what you wanted, and already not a great start for Ace Racer, who started as the last car inside the top 5, and Blake Warren had nowhere to go. Big hunk of sheet metal taken out of the 43 of Sean Douglas, too. Corey Stolhood, a lot of damage to that 45. He almost went upside down. And for the first time in season number 5, we didn't even make it probably half a mile before the caution flag came out. And Apollo Hyde will lead them back to the stripe. She was ahead at the moment of caution. And we'll take a look and see what happened to put us under this first yellow of the night as the Pace Truck immediately right back out on track, and we'll get a quick look here. They were 3 wide pretty much right on the start. An Ace Racer had a great qualifying run. I think he is actually just going to get a little pop from behind from Corey Stolhood. Blake Warren, nowhere to go. And oh, Rafaela Sorensen ran right into the 64, and that's what happened to Sean Taylor. He's going to get, or Sean Douglas, I should say, he got popped in the side there by that 64 machine. We'll get another look at it here as, you know, that's what happens when you get a couple of unexperienced guys at a track like this where, you know, it's very punishing, especially when you're on cold tires, and Corey a little too, not enough on the brake, and unfortunately that's really going to take Blake Warren potentially out of the race as well. Same with Rafaela and Douglas too. Douglas, he did his darndest trying to avoid it, and nothing you can do with a spinning car in front of you. Just looking at on pit road. Also the 00 of Sean T with some right side damage in the 00 car. Looks like he may have caught a piece, but the majority of the field staying out. We did have a couple of takers with Crystal Bennett down the pit lane and that Hooters Dodge. Same thing with Sorensen in the 39. Taylor, Warren, both Stolhood brothers, in fact, down the pit lane. So got the Stolhood Nissan. The Stolhood brothers, both of their Nissan Altimas are down the pit lane. Stolhood coming out right behind his Lap Car Enterprises teammate and team owner here tonight, with just a 2-car grid on the or 2-car team on the grid here this evening for LCE. Of course, one of them currently in the 2nd position. Field will get the 1 to go signal around this next time by, and you know, I feel like we haven't had an opportunity to really showcase this brand new truck, kind of brand new truck, if you will. the official pace truck of NR2003 that Apollo Hyde is sniffing the rear end of right now. Hyde running right behind the pace truck here and now. Of course, we've been using that for the last year and been using it for the SNG05 mod, pretty much. I don't think we have used it for you know what? I think we do. I think we have used it as well. I don't think that's a new thing. I think we have used it for Fuel Grand National. I do not think we have used it for Fast, though. I think we've had a solid pace car for Fast. No, we didn't use it for Fuel Grand National. We had a solid pace car for that as well, so... First time seeing the pace truck out on board, and Corey Stolhood has pulled that 45 car behind the wall. That is such a tough break for him. Started this race midway through the field. Actually, he started up inside the top 10 in 7th. And he's going to fall a little bit out of line with these drivers, and a tough start to season number 5 for the 45. The other Stolhood brother with a 00 still out on track. You know what? We are not going to go ahead and do a free camera for that. For the opening start, and maybe we can get some green flag laps in. But of course, as is tradition here in the Fuel Sportsman Series, single file restarts are the name of the game. Your top 5 going back to the Reese's restart zone will be Apollo Hyde, Drew Fast, Ike Durbin, Tate Dorsey inside the top 5, and Kenny Campos, another solid top 5 run for him so far. Also glad to see Keon Daly back in the fray in that 98 machine. And actually, I spoke out of school there. It's actually a 3-car field for Lap Car Enterprises, with Keon Daly becoming that 3rd car, with Stolhood moving over. Stolhood, the lone Nissan Altima on the grid. But back we go through the gearbox once again in SoCal. Green flag back out of the way, and a great restart for both Hyde and Fast. And they are going to be on top of one another as the green flag back out, and already Keon Daly trying to poke his nose down to the inside. Trying to get to the inside of Keon Daly. He's not going to be able to as they thunder off towards turn number 1. We'll look back in here. If we see any other trouble, we do not. Oh, and just we're talking about 3 cars going around. Blake Warren, 43 of Sean Douglas, and the 77 of Hunter Nelson around, and the second yellow flag will fly. Nelson was just right in the middle of the racetrack, and I think Douglas was trying to avoid him. And once again, Blake Warren just an innocent bystander at this point. And that might be at the end of his night officially here after just a very tough start to the Sportsman Series season. Of course, mimicking the start to the season he had at the Atlanta Motor Speedway all the way back at the beginning of Season 4. Douglas right now 2 for 2 in terms of accidents he's been involved in, along with that 8 car. And our second yellow flag of the night will fly here at the Auto Club Speedway. This time we got maybe about half a lap logged in. We'll see what happened. And I think this is just a simple case of ARCA brakes, as it was a camshaft failure ultimately for Corey Stolhood that took him out of the running. And this was right off of the restart. See, Brie Lazonga moving out of line of the 9 car, and the 77... Let's see, do they just lose the back end? Do they get a little help? Oh, that car just completely broke straight. And then Douglas came flying in there along with Blake Warren. They both just came careening in. We'll see these guys come back down the pit lane. Ike Durbin's going to be the only one that's inside the top 10 that will elect to hit the pit area, along with Tyler Stolhood for the 2nd time tonight. But most of the leaders will remain out on track. Grab another look here. This time following was Sean Douglas. And what happened with him on the restart, and I'm pretty sure Douglas was probably just responded to 77, just breaking loose right in front of him. And we'll watch the telemetry here. 157, he slows way down. Didn't realize Blake Warren was there, and then Warren ran right through. Sean T doing a great job of avoiding his way through the accident scene. And we'll put us under our second yellow flag on the evening as everybody is out and away. Blake Warren is going to remain in the race along with that 43 Camry. And I'm trying to decide if that 43 Camry, you know, it's already cursed in real life seeing Legacy Motor Club entry with the Camrys on the car. Yeah, but seeing the STP colors and the petty blue 43 and the STP colors on a Camry is it's a little cursed. I'm not gonna lie, but great looking paint scheme nonetheless, using the old school STP logo, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately for Sean Douglas, who, if I'm not mistaken, is making a Sportsman Series debut here tonight. A little bit more towards the back of the pack has been involved in both incidents here this evening, as Vincenzo Focusato will pit from the 11th position. Still got 20 cars remaining on track. RJ Bishop will also elect to come down the pit lane in the Mopar 81. But the top three has really not changed ever since the start of the race. It's been hiding fast, nose to tail. Demi Schizzato, Tate Dorsey, and Kenny Campos, the top five. Keon Daly, got Rafael Sorensen. You got Jason Stereo running inside the top 10. Great run for that Unical 96 car. Gabriel Zonga in the top 10 as well, and currently caboose in the top 10 is going to be Sean T after coming down the pit lane late under that last caution period. Still just about anybody's race here at Auto Club. We got 43 laps to go. We'll see if we can get a green flag lap ran in here. And of course, like we're talking about, it's just the very start of the chaos here. Season number 5 of the Fuel Sportsman Series. Get another look at the Season 5 schedule. Next week, we've got the Rockingham Speedway coming up. I think we're going to be doing about, I want to say 7 or 8 different broadcasts. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So exactly 8 broadcasts on the board here. 7 of them will be live, where the Hillside race will likely be a tape-delayed race on that upcoming Monday afternoon. Of course, with the hockey season right in the windshield for us here, for me personally in my life, as the field goes back through the gearbox once again, we'll see if we can get some green flag racing in here at Auto Club. Friday nights are going to be just a wee bit busy, just a little bit busy, just a little busy. I'll have to see how we can try and juggle things here as caution flag, I believe, no, it's not back out. We have the 77 very slow on the racetrack. Not sure, he might have something mechanical wrong under the hood, but we're on the back straightaway for the opening time under speed here on lap number 9. And Drew Fast has fallen back into third. Here's Zemi Schizzato. You know, she loves to run that Larson line. She's rimming on the outside lane. Big run coming from the 97 car off the corner. Side by side for the race lead, and Hyde will drag the brake a little bit, fall back in line. And Emi Schizzato will lead the first green flag lap. No, caution flag is back out. Ike Durbin has gone around. Same thing with a 43 of Sean Douglas. 3 for 3 in incidents involved tonight. I believe RJ Bishop may have caught a piece. He's got some roof damage, so he may have been on his roof there for a brief moment, or he got some sort of damage in that 81 car. And just as we were about to say, Emi Schizzato will lead the first green flag lap of the season. The yellow flag is out for the 3rd time tonight here at the Auto Club Speedway. They'll race it back. And Schizzato actually did lead a green flag lap. So that lap did count as a green flag since she had to race all the way back around in the field. We'll catch up to the pace truck down the back straightaway. So we'll see what happened here once again. And Sean Douglas has had a rough start to his Fuel Sportsman Series career so far, and I think that may have been a victim of a circumstance. Oh, this goes, whoa, Nelly. Oh, boy. This is about as chain reaction of a crash as it gets. You watch this 7 car. He just gets very out of shape. Nowhere for RJ Bishop to go, and he just goes head-on into the wall. Both Millennium Autosport cars spin around, and just an easy flip for RJ Bishop. He's going to be remaining in the race here, I think. How about that for the 81? You know, he's preparing for tomorrow night's race in the Great American Big One, qualifying for the main event, which will be held at Talladega tomorrow night at 7:30. And you know what? I think he's getting prepared for the beating that's likely going to come at Talladega. Got a couple of NASRN online veterans here that'll be racing in the Great American Big One as that 81 car will finally head its way down the pit area. It's the beauty of moderate damage. You're able to take a head-on shot into the wall, and you're able to remain in the race here. Schizotto and Hyde still remaining on track. With 39 to go, I think they're trying to get at least to the halfway point of the race to where they'll mathematically be able to make it to the end. Well, so we'll see everybody come back out on track. Drew Fast is just going to barely lose the race off pit lane to Tate Dorsey in that Viagra 6 machine. Dorsey will rejoin the field. I feel like Blake Warren's got to be feeling good that he wasn't involved in an incident for a change here tonight. Next time by will be 1 lap to go. We'll get another look at this accident. RJ's getting a lot of damage repair, and you know, for good reason, obviously, because that 81 car just caved in head first. Trying to see this. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's watch from the pit lane. Let's watch from the pit lane 2 cam, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Oh, nope. We hit the wrong button, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and get that done as a field. We'll grid up here to take the green flag this next time by. That's what happens when you hit the replay button instead of the live button. And hey, we're all just trying to shake off some of the rust here tonight. Even though it's been, you know, just a handful of days since our last broadcast here on the NASRN. Sometimes we get some technical snafus. Of course, it's a little bit late here tonight as a field. Going through turn 4 on the live shot. Watch this 7 car. Just breaks down loose, and that 81 head on into the wall. That looked like something out of TNT Man 93, and he's able to keep on going. How about that? And he's still chugging. Not sure how fast he's going to be, but he's still going to remain in the race, and he's going to get a top 20 finish after all this. So lights are out on the pace car. 20 cars still on track here in race number 1 of the season's 12 race slate for the Fuel Sportsman Series. Emi Schizotto has led 4 laps on the night so far. Apollo Hyde has led the most with 8. They're the only 2 registered leaders so far this evening. Kenny Campos up in the 3rd position. Jason Stereo runs 4th, and Ace Racer rounds out the top 5. Everybody still mathematically cannot make it to the end of the race, but Apollo Hyde and Emi Schizotto, along with Kenny Campos, they're the only 3 cars in the race right now that have not come down the pit lane. So we'll see how long they're able to go here. We're on lap 13, so just about halfway through a fuel run. Schizotto and the matte black Dodge Charger will lead them back through the gearbox once again. We're back to green flag racing and out at the Auto Club Speedway once more. Once again, the top 2 get a great launch off the gun. Look at this battle back in here. We'll have to see how much fresher tires matter. Here's Racer down to the inside of Jason Stereo. Stereo way up the track running the Larson line. Top 3 starting to really pull away from one another. Racer right in front of Tate Dorsey is Stereo up in the outside wall. These guys got to be careful heading down the back straightaway. That 64 car looking really fidgety. It's going to be way on the inside. He's going to lose a lot of ground. I think those older tires from when he came down the pit lane on the first lap starting to wear out just a little bit here. Is at the start-finish line. Finally, we'll get a lead lap or a green flag lap logged here for Emi Schizotto. Well, it took 14 laps, but we've got a green flag run building here. And Drew Fast starting to make his way up through the grid. You're on board with the Mopar number 4 machine. The battle for the race lead on the forefront. He's already moved inside the top 7, trying to get inside the top 6. Stereo, which is a really good run off the corner. That 96 car, That Monte Carlo SS looking really strong as Hyde going for the race lead. Schizzato looking for the crossover. They're side by side once again. That'll bring Kenny Campos back into the fray, trying to improve his best career finish in the Fuel Sportsman Series. Came at third at the Alley Raceway last season in Season 4. Schizzato trying to pull back in line. And those two going side by side for the race lead. Will rubber band everybody back together. That will bring a choo-choo train of drivers up in here. Blake Warren inside the top 5 for the first time tonight. As Stereo starting to fall back a little bit in the 96. He is really fidgety in front of that 4 car. Here's Keon Daly in the fray once more. Fast, the outside pole sitter trying to run that Larson line on the outside. Way up the track he goes. He's going to run 3 wide. Just pulls back at the 11th hour and nearly ran over Keon Daly as the 2 LCE teammates nearly make some contact, and that would have not made Crystal Bennett happy. Bennett trying to go for the flippin' win this week. Schizzato looking to the inside once again on the 100. Those two will be side by side in a moment. But of course, Crystal Bennett, you remembered a Wednesday night. Talked about that crash that Schizzato was involved in on Wednesday at the end of the Iowa race. Well, if you remember, good old Crystal Bennett did an X Games flip down the front straightaway. I don't think I've ever seen quite anything like that in NR 2003. But you know, we're always saying new things here in this almost 25-year-old game. And these guys running really close to each other. You know, in the Grand National Series, you know, it's open setup. So we usually see your comers, you usually see your goers. But these guys running really on top of one another right now. And we're seeing a lot of names up at the front that we're not used to seeing. Guys like Kenny Campos, of course, Kenny we talked about as he moves underneath Schizzato for second. He's a guy that's been in and out of the race car for the Grand National level. Fast way up the track, and Campos looking for the slide job. And he's going to give him room, but they'll bring Bennett up into third. That's going to drop the 97 2 spots. And a big run coming for the Mopar Dodge on the outside as Schizzato's going to lose a lot of time. We talked about Kenny, you know, he's been in and out of the car, in and out of the broadcast booth here tonight, and the caution flag is out as Ace Racer is off in the infield doing some agricultural work. 4th caution flag of the evening here on lap 19, just shy of halfway. And with 32 laps to go, this is going to make things, as they say down in a little bit south of here, Mexico, muy interesante in terms of if these drivers are going to come down the pit lane and try and stretch to the end. Because if you're a guy, as RJ Bishop has also retired from the race, so he will finish in 20th after flipping head-on inside the wall, but you're a guy like Tyler Stolhood, you're remembering what happened at the Indianapolis race for the Fast RPCS when everybody was trying to make it to the end on fuel mileage, but we are going to get a gaggle of cars coming down. Top 3 will stay up, but everybody will head down the pit lane. Hyde and Campos, the only 2 that have not made a pit stop, along with Emi Schizzato, and they're still going to remain out. Those are going to be the 3 cars that stay out on track, along with Sean T. But Drew Fast will come down the pit lane here. He'll follow along with his pit crew. That 4 machine sliding into his pit stall. Just about overshooting it. He's going to put on 4 Mr. Feelgoods. You know what? I forgot we've got the Hoosier tires on here. I might have to change it back over to Goodyear for next week at the Rockingham Speedway, but 4 tires going all the way around. He's going to lose a couple of spots off the pit lane. So as everybody will head back out on track, we'll take a look and see what happened here. I think it may have been Hunter Nelson and Ace Racer getting together, as those 2 are the last ones off the pit lane. We know Racer was one of the cars that was involved in the accident. He was off in the infield at some point, and here we go. So Racer slides up the track and just gets a little bump from Focusato and spun that 64 car around. Actually, I think Hunter Nelson was just a little bit slow out on track. That's why he was behind. So Racer involved in his second incident of the evening in that 64 car. And he's another driver that'll be racing in the Great American Big One main event tomorrow night. After the first two events, we'll get another look at this from the alternate angle before going back through the gears. Little tap from Vin, no harm, no foul, but would say it pretty much every broadcast. NR2003 netcode walked, so iRacing netcode could run. And that's what happened to bring out caution number 4 of the season opener here at the Auto Club Speedway. Field has gotten the 1 to go once again. And we're 2/3 of the way through tonight's race with 30 laps to go, coming around to 29 to go once they go back through the gears. And Paulo sticking her nose with that Fusion, just sniffing the tailpipe of that Chevy Silverado pace truck. That's a great way to get pink eye, I'd say. Top 3 is still yet to come down the pit lane. They can go about 30 laps with all the caution flags we've ran. It'll be 13 caution flags ran under the yellow flag here. You go back through the grid, first car that has come down the pit lane relatively recently has been Sean T, but Tyler Stallhood, he has pit 5 times in the 4 caution flags we've had in this race. Tyler's a guy that just loves to be tic-tac-toeing with his setup all night long. There's no limits on how many tires these guys get, if I'm not mistaken. So he can come down as much as his heart's content. He can come down 15 times. Probably about 12 times. He can come down a dozen times. That team's not going to run out of tires. Hey, tires are free. Wish that was the way it was in ARCA, but nonetheless. Hyde, Campos, Gizzotto, T, and Stallhood, the top 5. Right back through the gearbox once again. Green flag out and away. Here on lap number 22 of the night. Tate Dorsey is also retired from the race, as Breer Lazonga and Hunter Nelson trying to get their cars under power. Oh, Stallhood around into the 84 in the outside wall. Big crash down the back straightaway. Stallhood trying to hold on to the brake. That's right in front of everybody. Ace Racer also around once again with the caution flag. I believe the caution flag should be out again. It is. We talked about how Stallhood was just trying to mess around with that setup. And unfortunately for him, it looks like he messed around a little too much. And second time tonight, Stallhood has broken sideways and collected another car. That could have been ugly. Said Ace Racer also spun around, and the 5th caution flag is out on the board. That was so unfortunate for Crystal Bennett. She's going to lose a lot of time, and fortunately not a whole lot of damage on that Hooters car. We'll see this right from the drop of the green flag. These two restarted in 5th and 6th. And, Tyler is just running that inside lane. You see the back end really step out off turn 2 on corner exit. He just overcorrected it, and Crystal just nowhere to go. That's just a tough situation where you got to try and take your medicine. Or unfortunately, you're going to be forced to take your medicine. And meanwhile, top 3 finally coming down the pit lane, because we're going to get this race restarted with 26 to go. And lo and behold, if this race does go caution-free, for the final 26 laps, these guys are going to be the only ones that are able to make it. I'm surprised not a whole lot of other cars came down the pit lane, with Blake Warren and Drew Fast staying out. But Apollo Hyde will come down. Dominant car of the night so far. 16 of the 24 laps led for that Waste Management Ford Fusion. Blipped in and out there for a brief moment in time. Got a little bit nervous here, but she'll remain in the server. Top 5 cars all staying out. Top 6. Keon Daly was a little bit behind Apollo Hyde, so the top 6 cars make that top 7. Bria Lazonga will stay out as well. Hunter Nelson will win the race off the pit lane. Cautions breed cautions, and these cautions, there's certainly something in the water here tonight. That's all we'll say on that. Paulo Hyde will be the first one out and away on fresh tires. Emiski's Auto losing a spot to Jason Stereo on the grid. Kenny Campos falling a little bit back as well. With 18 cars still out on track. Still a lot of action on the horizon here tonight at the Auto Club Speedway. And here we go. Ooh. So we come to the choose. We're actually not the choose. It's just a single file restart. But 4 of the 5 cars that stayed out will hit the pit lane and say, you know what? When Apollo, Emmy, and Kenny came down the pit lane, we're going to get 1 lap fresher tires, 1 lap better of fuel than those guys. And now these 4 drivers can also make it to the end. These 3, I should say. Actually, Rafael Sorensen did also come down, so those 4 can make it to the end. So now we'll have all but Keon Daly and Brie Lozanga. And Drew Fast, I believe, too. All of them can make it to the end on fuel. And Apollo Hyde will be the first one that can make it to the end mathematically. I'm not sure how much fuel Hunter Nelson put in that Kodak 77. He's probably just a little bit short, I would gauge, based on his pit stop time. Tyler Stallhood will restart from the tail end of the grid, taking the end of the longest line penalty. Conway Freight Ultima again. Beautiful looking paint scheme for him. Tyler always puts some beautiful looking paint schemes out on track. Again, like I mentioned in the pre-race show, very heavy on the Colin Brown throwback there in that Conway Ultima. Fortunately, it's only one Stallhood brother in an Ultima right now, with Corey Stallhood, the first one that retired after a camshaft issue took him out of the race. Right now, Tate Dorsey and RJ Bishop. The other cars in the garage area with 18 of the 21 cars still out on track. And here we go. Fast, Daly, Lozanga, Warren, and Focusato back through the gearbox. We rumble, green flag out and away. Nelson a little bit slow off the restart. Here comes Sean T. 4 wide for position as they thunder into turn number 1. That got hairy. This could get hairy real quick as the 77 didn't get going whatsoever. Brie Lozanga also struggling to get some grip on the outside lane as they're out on the back straightaway. Keon Daly now in a spirited fight. Actually, it's Keon Daly in a fight with the 4 car of Drew Fast of the 2-lap car Enterprises teammates side by side. Fast way at the track. He's loose. He's around. The 4 car self-spins in turn number 4. Can he hold on to the brake? Jason Stereo will bump his way past. And the yellow flag will not come out. Or will it? No, we had another caution. We had another incident back in there. Ace Racer, heavy back end damage on that car, and the yellow flag is out for the 6th time tonight. And that absolutely saved the bacon of what happened with Drew Fast. The caution flag once again coming out, but that 4 car just looping it around, just trying to catch things on the outside lane. And back under our 6th caution flag of the night. Keon Daly led them back to the stripe. With this most recent caution, I believe he'll come down the pit lane, and that will cycle everybody back around to the front. Because everybody should be able, yeah, Mini Minister can definitely make it. Sean T can definitely make it. And Keon Daly will come down along with a couple other cars. Minister and T, they're not going to want to risk it. They'll also come back down. So that'll bring Crystal Bennett back in the fray with Vincenzo Focusato and Blake Warren. As the 6th yellow flag is out on the night, we'll see what happened. First, we'll see the cause of the caution. With Ace Racer and I believe Rafael Sorensen may have gotten together. Kenny Campos was trying to drive his way through, and well, this is what happened with the 64. It's actually he and Sean Douglas in the 43. Douglas up the track just clips the 64, and You know, I don't know if I would personally call that a multi. I mean, there was, multiple cars, there were two cars that clanged into one another. But I feel like, Ace, he had an opportunity to really save that car. Same cannot be said for Drew Fast. Trying to fight Keon Daly for the race lead. Watch the back end just completely step out on this Mopar Dodge. Just trying to save it, hits it in the wall. He did a heck of a job of keeping it up on the track, just holding the brakes so he didn't run over or get run over by a couple other people. And unfortunately for him, that will likely take him out of the running. He's still going to remain in the race, and, he might have a shot at winning this year. But lo and behold, this is going to get interesting once again here at Auto Club, as everybody is off and away. Coming to the one to go this time by. And as we reach the top of the hour here in just a couple of moments, we'd like to welcome everybody back into tonight's coverage of the AAA Insurance 100 here at the Auto Club Speedway, part of our season opening coverage for the Fuel Sportsman Series here on the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey, right on the NESRN. It'll be 21 laps to go, a blackjack amount of laps to go here at the Auto Club Speedway. We're not quite in Vegas yet. It'll be coming later on in the season, but approaching 11 o'clock Eastern Time here on the North American Sim Racing Network local time, or just at about 8 o'clock here at the Auto Club Speedway. And Emmy Schizzato trying to see if we can get some of the statistics pulled up here. See who has won a Sportsman Series prior. See, Sportsman Series 1 full results. I don't believe Emmy Schizzato has any wins to her credit. I go back in here. This is looking at season 1. Tyler Mallon's got a couple wins. Of course, Zach Rogers, he's got a lot of wins. Looking at season 2. Looking back in here. No, I don't believe Emmy Schizzato has any wins to her credit. So Emmy Schizzato, Crystal Bennett, they're going to be looking for their first career wins here tonight. As is Vincenzo Focusato too, I believe. But here we go. The Black Mat 97 leading them back through the gears with a blackjack to go here at Auto Club. Green flag out and away. Schizzato, Hyde, Bennett, Focusato, and Warren, your top 5. And it has been a stop and go race all throughout tonight here at the Auto Club Speedway. See if we can get to the end with a green flag run here. For the race lead, Hyde right on the back end of that 97 car as they're down the back straightaway. Hyde, a big run coming on that Waste Management 100 car. She was blinking in and out there for a second, trying to run that outside lane. Schizzato very content running the inside, looking to slide up in front of that 100 car. Meanwhile, back in here, Crystal Bennett and Blake Warren door to door with Vincenzo Focusato. He's got a front row seat to this lead battle right here for the lead. Apollo Hyde has gotten around Emmy Schizzato. And how can Emmy try and get back at that 100 car? Vincenzo might have a shot at this win here tonight too. Blake Warren with a chance, like Durbin with a chance, Rafaela Sorensen, Tyler Stolhood also back in here as well. And you look back at Drew Fast, that last lap he put down a 42.672. Currently a second and a half off of what Apollo Hyde's best time is, so a lot of damage sustained on that 4 car from when he backed into the outside wall in the Crystal Bennett Memorial Corner. Speaking of Bennett, here comes that 84 car like we talked about, looking for the flip and win here this week. They've got a sign on the back end of that car. We're going to look at it here. Keep all 4 wheels off the ground. She's trying to do that the same here tonight. Of course, Emmy just trying to drive the wheels off of that Dodge. Trying to get to the inside of Apollo, but Apollo, again, she's the defending winner at this track. She's just so good at these flat D ovals. But again, nobody has really been able to drive away from one another. Again, that is due in part to the stop-and-go racing we have had, but even I think our longest green flag run was something in the ballpark as the caution flag is back out. Sean T and Mini Minister have gotten together once again. You know, just we're talking about the stop-and-go style of racing. The yellow flag will fly for the 7th time this evening. And with 18 to go, we'll likely get a restart with 14 to go. And like we said, the stop-and-go style of racing will continue here. So we're under the caution flag for the 7th time tonight. And now what do you do strategy-wise? Because again, everybody can make it to the end. But, you know, tires and fuel, like when they fall off a cliff. And the fall-off point is about 27 laps. You got 18 to go. If I'm Apollo, if I'm Emmy, I know that I've got, you know, the dexterity to drive my way up through the grid. I know we're going to get a couple more restarts. I would personally pit here just to give myself as best of a chance to make it to the end. And, you know, the only ones that are going to take the only one inside the top 5 that's going to take my advice is Crystal Bennett. She, Kenny Campos, and 4 other drivers will head down the pit lane. Got a couple other takers as well. Sean T, in his NASRN debut, will head down the pit lane. Looks like he was the primary cause of that caution. We'll see what happened. This was in turns 3 and 4. And just got pinched on the outside wall by Mini Minister. Nothing Mini could really do there. Nothing Sean could really do there. Just 2 cars fighting for the same piece of real estate. And we'll get another look here just to see who came up first. I think Sean came up first a little bit. Yeah, Sean came up. You know, there's nothing you can really do there if you're Minister. They hit the outside wall, the transition between the concrete and the safer barrier. So under our 7th caution flag in the night tonight. It's definitely not our 2nd caution flag. Apollo Hyde still with the race lead as they're in turns 3 and 4. You know, Vincenzo Focusato, you know what, Focusato does have a win. It came at Del Marva, which was a road course race back in Season 2. Dunlaprod's got, you know, he's got a bunch of wins. You know, looking up in here, Emmy Schizzato, she does not have wins, as far as I can tell. No, she doesn't. Oh yeah, she won at Albuquerque. Forgot about that. She won at Albuquerque last season. So Emmy Schizzato's got wins. Of course, Apollo Hyde has got a plethora of wins. Blake Warren is the only one that I believe does not have any wins in Sportsman. He's still looking for his first career fuel win. And trying to get it here tonight. He's got a best finish of 4th. Actually, no, 2nd. He got 2nd place at Las Vegas back in Season 3. I always forget the first ever crazy race we had here at Las Vegas, and of course, Vegas is coming back. It's been a staple on the Sportsman Series schedule for the past couple of seasons, and that's gonna be such a fun race. I can't wait for Las Vegas. Can't wait for a lot of these races. We'll take a look at the season schedule for the final time. The Auto Club tonight, you got Rockingham and Myrtle Beach, our first 3 races all broadcasted here on the NASRN. Got Las Vegas for round number 5. And you got Lexington. Then you got, still, you know what? I'm not sure if Lexington, we'll have to double check with my schedule to see if Lexington's going to be a live stream. Hillside will definitely be a tape delay. Papyrus and Homestead, they'll definitely be live. The first 5 or the first 4 broadcasts that we'll be doing are absolutely live here on the NASRN. And again, looking at the upcoming broadcast schedule once again, a reminder, tomorrow evening, the main events for the Great American Big One here on the NASRN airing at 7:30, and you're going to be wanting to wait a long time. You're going to be in your seat watching that for a long time. About 3 hours is the video, which is going to be rendering overnight here. Render it, upload, and that's going to be on the horizon for y'all to watch here tomorrow, but that's then. This is now 16 laps to go. 18 cars still in the race, and Skizzato, she's looking for that second career win. Same thing with Focusato. Off of the corner, Blake Warren, Ike Durbin also with one win to his name in the Fuel Sportsman Series. 3 wide back in here. Keon Daly making his way to the inside. Rafaela Sorensen falling back a little bit. And Apollo Hyde just trying to pull away, but these two automobiles have been the class of the field so far tonight. The Charger of Skizzato and the Fusion of Hyde. 14 laps to go, and the question is, do we get a green flag run to end things out? It's always been the million-dollar question, and we're going to find out right here and right now. It's been a stop-and-go race right from the drop of the green flag, pretty much. Hyde protecting the bottom. Skizzato looking for that area. That's been that area of the track where Emmy has really loved to run. Big run coming from the 97 car off the corner. Not quite able to keep it at the start-finish line. 13 to go. Another big run coming. This time, it's going to be just right on the back end of that 100. It's right on the rear bumper of that Ford. Apollo's going to whistle up the track just a little bit, and lo and behold, you can never count out these Millennium Autosport Dodges. Ike Durbin in the 86, Vincenzo Focusato in the 37. They currently run 3rd and 5th right now with Blake Warren in the middle. Keon Daly also making his way up through the grid. 12 laps to go this next time around. Oh, around the corner. Jason Stereo has spun his Monte Carlo SS. And the 43 of Sean Douglas will also spin around. We remain green. These guys are in front of the race leaders. Stereo he's just going to hold it on the outside. Oh, he's just trying to get around as the caution flag is out. Yellow is back out as neither driver could get back around. And the yellow flag will be flown here for the 8th time tonight. And ultimately, that's as Sean Douglas will retire from the event. That's ultimately a situation where you just got to get down to the infield as quickly as you can. And I'm not sure if that was because they were parked on the racetrack for an elongated amount of time and the leaders were coming by. But that's really going to change the pace of things here tonight. Once again, we'll get the race restarted with under 10 laps to go. We might be getting to the point where if we get a caution flag at the right time, we might be setting ourselves up for another green, white, checkered finish. We are going to get at least, hopefully, if things go right, at least 5 laps of green flag racing in the final 5. But to pit or not to pit is the question, and Vincenzo Focusato thinking about pitting. Keon Daly, he's going to pit from the 3rd lane. You know what? Let's slap some for Mr. Feelgoods on that Charger. Why not? Same thing with Bennett, Racer, and company back in here. We'll take a look at what happened for the 8th caution of the evening. And, just a couple of single-car spins in turn 3, which has really just been Calamity Corner tonight. I'm trying to see because, here's Stereo. This is what happened with the 96. Go up the wall, trying to get it back down. Nearly took out Crystal Bennett. She came just very close to spinning around. And then, Douglas just spun around by himself. Did he get clobbered by anybody? Yeah, the leaders, they were in turns 1 and 2. 43 was able to get on by. The leaders were just heading down the back straightaway with Stereo puttering away. I'm very surprised the caution flag was called. I'm not sure if it may have been an error or what the effect was, but either way, it's going to stack them back up here. And this is once again gonna get Muy Fuego. So we'll get the one to go once again this next time by. It'll be 8 laps of racing remaining here at the Auto Club Speedway once again. Big question is, are we going to be able to make it until the 5 laps to go mark before getting another caution flag come out? We did get the confirmation that Blake Warren has 0 wins in the Fuel Racing League to his credit. Could tonight be the night where that drought finally ends, an overstreak extending all the way back to 2024, I want to gauge. Blake, you'll correct me in the chat. But, you know, a lot of losing streaks back in here. Vincenzo Focasato, again, his last win coming at the Delmarva Speedway all the way back on, over a year ago on Friday, May 9th of 2025. That was before I graduated college. That was all the way back in Season 2. So that's the last time Vincenzo Focasato has gone to victory lane here in the Sportsman Series. Actually, wait, no. I'm an idiot. He won at Talladega. So he's got 2 wins. You know, it's late. It's 11:15 Eastern. I got work tomorrow. I got a long night of editing ahead of me. Overall, Focasato looking for that 3rd career win. Blake Warren looking for his 1st career win. Ike Durbin, I know for a fact Ike has 1 win to his name. And that came at, who's he won? So that came, oh, what is it called? At the Augusta Speedway. And in fact, he won the Season 3 championship too. So Durbin is previous champion, trying to get his 2nd career win. Green flag out on the way once more. 8 laps to go here at the Auto Club Speedway, and Schizzato knows the time is now to push. Both these drivers have been dominant. Apollo Hyde, of course, leading the lion's share of the laps. 29 laps led on the evening. But if you're Emi Schizzato, you're trying to lead the one that matters the most. They're way up the racetrack. Oh, around over the 39 and the 86, both around. Head on into the inside wall goes the 86, and the caution flag is back out. Rafaela Sorensen also around. And that constitutes, as a multi, 9th caution flag of the night. And we will get, this will be the final caution flag of the evening. And heavy, heavy damage for that 86 car of Ike Durbin. See if he's out of the race. He is not, but he has got a lot of rear end damage. You know, for moderate damage, having that much damage shows that you definitely were involved in quite a few incidences where you definitely had a really hard shot to the inside. And he's also got a flat tire as well. I guarantee you nobody's going to be coming down the pit lane this time by. And that just all got started when a couple of his cars just broke sideways. You know, nothing they could really do is nobody's going to come down the pit lane here. As we'll get this race restarted with 4 laps to go. We'll see if we'll cut it down to 5 with a quickie yellow, but we'll see what happens as Rafaela Sorensen will also come down the pit lane. Again, another crash right off of the restarts. And, you know, we saw them making contact. We saw them bumping and banging. Mini Minister went in the outside wall, and that's synchronized spinning for the 39 and the 86. Just a head-on, or a rear-end head-on shot for Ike Durbin. You know, we'll watch from his vantage point in full. I personally didn't see any contact. Actually, yeah, there was a little bit of contact, so that's what made it a multi. And that's it's pretty much destroyed any chance of a win here tonight for Ike Durbin, trying to get that 2nd career win. And it's really going to shake things up once again. We will get this race restarted with 4 to go, and we will be past the point of no return. Again, the point of no return, 5 laps to go. We'll be beyond that, so anything that happens after that will not matter. Things, as they always do, get interesting. Once again, here in the Fuel Sportsman Series, a 9-caution night. If I'm not mistaken, I think this final 4-lap run will be our longest green flag run of the evening. Right now, about an hour-long race, because we started at 10:15. You know, and typically the Sportsman Series races, they run at about 20%. You know, we ran 25%. We typically run 25% at Michigan and Auto Club for the 100 lapper or the 100 milers. But ultimately, that's how things are going to run out here. And we'll get a restart with 4 laps to go. And a lot of storylines on the grid. Of course, Apollo Hyde. Just not the season that you wanted. Of course, you know, you look at the numbers for last season where it was just Dunlapra dominating and Apollo Hyde finishing in second. Apollo did get 1 win. It came at Fiji, or the Fuji Speedway, compared to Dunlapra, who got 8 wins in the 12 races. You know, but Apollo, she's just trying to get things back on the right foot. You know, it has been a long time since she has won the championship. That was all the way back in Season 2, where she was consistent as consistent can be, winning 2 races. She's trying to get her... fourth season? 7th. She's trying to get her 8th career Sportsman Series win here tonight, and of course, just trying to set Season 5 off in the right direction as the league admin for the Sportsman Series. But here we go. Final restart of the night. Hyde, Schizzato, Focusato, Warren in fast, the top 5. Green flag back out and away. 4 laps to go here at Auto Club. Can they make it to the end without crashing? That is the final restart. Here comes Schizzato immediately on the inside lane. To the inside of the 100 goes the 97. These two have been dueling all night long, but Focusato also in that battle back in there as well. Hyde just really good on the outside, though. She's trying to play it back up there in that 100, and everybody remaining clean and green for the time being, and everybody knows this is the final chance to make your mark, try and make your way up on the grid. Here comes Schizzato. She had a chance to win on Wednesday night. She's going to have a chance to win here on Friday night if she's remaining in this battle. 3 laps to go. Big run coming for the 37 of Focusato. Right on the rear end of Emmy Schizzato. He goes as in the outside wall. That's going to bobble a little bit. Big run coming for Blake Warren. He's right on the back bumper. He nearly shoved the 37 wide. Big runs coming for everybody. It's a mad scramble with second up for grabs. Focusato will go to second. Warren will go for third. Here comes Kenny Campos out of nowhere in the 32 as Apollo Hyde looking to drive off in the sunset, and it is at a complete land rush for the second spot. Drew Fast shoved way off the perch. He's loose off turn 4. He spins the car around. That'll drop it way down in the order with 6 high in the air. 2 laps to go, and everybody's scrambling for spots. Might end up being a battle for third as Focusato up in here. Schizzato not done yet, but she's got a lot of ground to make up in that 97. I think the tire wear just really going away from that Dodge, and she is falling like a rock. Stolhood and Warren now door-to-door for third. Can Focusato do anything with Apollo Hyde? Hyde just seeing the chaos unfolding around goes Schizzato. The 97 spins in turn 3. And a bad final restart will get just a little bit worse. And now Warren and Stolhood door-to-door. 2 laps to go. White flag in the air. Warren being very aggressive and Stolhood trying to be even more aggressive in this battle for third. Meanwhile, Focusato, he's within 3 car lengths of the 100. Down the back straightaway for the final time when Warren runs up on Minister. Big crash down the back straightaway, but back at the front. Focusato needing to do one final dive bomb to try and get the win here tonight. Here comes Kenny Campos. He's going to make it a good battle for third, but off turn 4. One final gasp here for the 37. He might have a shot. Not going to be in time. Apollo Hyde will win a wild season opener as a photo finish for third with Stolhood edging out the 84 of Bennett. And Apollo Hyde will win round number 1 of season 5 here at the Auto Club Speedway. An incredible finish. Just edging out Vincenzo Focusato by about not even a quarter of a second, an eighth of a second over that 37 car. And Tyler Stolhood in a photo finish over Crystal Bennett will take third. Kenny Campos and Crystal Bennett, they rounded out the top 5. Keon Daly, Sean T, Ace Racer, a top 10 finish. Same thing for Ike Durbin and Jason Stereo also with a top 10. And Apollo Hyde will park that 100 machine right at the start-finish line. And after a season of just trial tribulation, she is going to get to do a burnout here at the Auto Club Speedway. Apollo Hyde, your winner of the AAA Insurance 100 in that Waste Management 100 car, 1 for 1. She's going to park it in victory lane. Your winner tonight here at the Auto Club Speedway, Apollo Hyde, wins the AAA Insurance 100. We're not going to waste any time here. We're going to go ahead and pull our victors in here for the post-race interviews in just a moment. But Apollo Hyde, Vincenzo Focusato, and Tyler Stolhood round out your podium. We'll hear from them in just a moment here on the NESRN. Post-race interviews coming up here after a wild race at Auto Club. A very wild race at the Auto Club Speedway. Opening up season number 5 of the Fuel Sportsman Series has ended here on the NESRN, your home for the Fuel Sportsman Series and the Fuel Racing League proper. Trey right on the call here, bringing you up into the post-race show at 11:30 Eastern Time for a very wild race. 9 caution flags on the board, a lot of stop-and-go racing, and Apollo Hyde, as the dust settles, takes her 8th career Fuel Sportsman Series victory. We'll talk with her in just a few moments. We're going to go ahead and get right into things right here and right now. Starting off by bringing our 3rd place finisher in a dead heat at the very end of the race, drive the number 7 Conway Nissan Altima. Mr. Tyler Stallhood, got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth. Well, that was a very stop and go race, I think, is the only way to really describe it. 9 caution flags going on the board. But before we talk about the race, we'll talk about coming into tonight, and we'll talk about this new car. Using the late 2000s, the late Gen 4 SNG05 Mod, and it definitely looked like it handled it a lot differently than the traditional Cup 98 mod. We saw a lot of cars being able to take advantage of the higher downforce with this mod. I just want to get your thoughts on your first race with this new car here tonight.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Veterans of the sim will know that there's only technically 4 cars in the game. You've got Cup Physics, GNS Physics, Truck Physics, and Trans Am Physics. And everything that is Cup drives the same, but there's like optical illusions that happen, right? So you have different camera angles. The cars look different. They are visibly longer or shorter or wider or skinnier. So it all kind of plays tricks on your mind. So this car feels like it drives drastically different than the Cup 98 cars that we were in season 4. They may be exactly the same car, the same setups work. But yeah, there's a little bit of a learning curve with the new mod. But that kind of played into, I think, too.
It definitely did, and of course, like we said, a very stoplight race here tonight with 9 caution flags going on the board. As a driver, you're coming over from the Fast Racing League, and that's a racing league where you just get those long green flag runs. You got to strategize. You got to think to yourself during the race. You got trying to think about strategy while you're trying to hustle that car around at a 200 miles an hour. But in a race like this tonight, again, you were involved in a couple of different incidences. You were having to start from the 8 ball as well. How do you really strategize in a race like this where it's just a lot of stop and go, a lot of yellow flag racing, and not a whole lot of really chances to know what you're working with under the car, under the race conditions?
Yeah, it can be challenging. To give Fast their flowers, they have a lot of experience all driving together. The same, there may be fields as small as 8 or 9 cars, but they're 8 or 9 guys that have been racing together for years. And they kind of know what makes each other tick and what ticks them off and everything. And over here tonight, we had, I think, 21 cars hit the pavement, and of the 21, I think maybe 15 of us have more than a couple handfuls of races together. So there's a little bit of an unknown factor with some cars like Sean T. He's a veteran of the sim. Him and I and Drew, we all go back over a decade. But Sean only has a couple races in fuel history with these people, so a lot of people didn't even know who he was because it's been so long since he's run a race here. Melon or Bree, Drew's better half. This is her first race in the sim, actually I think it might be in the sim, full first points paying race. She's been doing some offline races, some test races. I've had her over at the off-season series. We've done a couple fun races and trying to get her sea legs under her. She had a really good race tonight, but not a lot of people had experience with her. So even in the off-season stuff, we only had, I think, 7 or 8 people show up to that. So yeah, just a lot of collective inexperience. Even though individuals have a lot of experience with the sim, it's just people racing together. So when you have the big melting pot kind of races like tonight, it can be a bit of a crapshoot as to whether you're going to go 4 or 5 laps before getting a caution, or get a good 15 to 20 lap run to the end.
Absolutely, and you always see that with fields with a healthy field, or leagues with healthy field sizes, and just talking about, just the last year for the fuel racing league in general, because we're talking about it at the beginning of this broadcast. Looking back at last year's race here, we only had 12 cars on the grid, and it wasn't really that competitive a race. Apollo, ironically, she dominated like she did here tonight. She ran away with it last year. She didn't have to quite run away with it this year. But, we just talk about like how much this league has really progressed in the last year, because we've been talking about it. I know Zach Rogers and I were talking about it on Wednesday night, how I think we only had one race in Grand National this last season where we had less than 20 cars and we're consistently just getting healthy field size. I just want to get your take on just how this league has really progressed over the last 365 days.
I mean, it's incredible when you really think about it like that. Just how many people are still willing to get in a group and play this game together. This game that's over 2 decades old. People still find each other online, create Discord servers together, join Facebook groups together. There's a huge subreddit, if you're not already familiar out there. The NR2003 subreddit, huge. We always have our controversies and things, so that kind of in a way keeps it fresh and exciting. I was going somewhere with that train of thought, but I think the good word is getting out. People are starting to hear about fuel and hear that it's fun. It's fun to be here. We do a pretty good job, I think, not to be a humble brag or anything, but I think we take care of each other. We listen to our members. We do stuff that makes sense. We kind of try to take the least common denominators and make the best package we can for the most people. Kind of the 80-20 principle. You can solve 80% of your problems by fixing 20% of the issues. And I think we're doing the right things. We brought Apollo on. It was me and Zach who started the league together. We brought Apollo on after the first year. Then me and Apollo kind of made some headway. We brought Ike on about a year ago. And things have been progressing even since then. So just within the last week, we brought on Rich as a brand new admin. So hats off to Rich Roy out there. He's been in your booth. He's been in the bird's eye seat. He's given some good insights. I gave him an audition, so to speak, in the off-season series. He did a really good job with the drivers meeting, and he put an application in to be an official admin. So we kind of took a look at that and took inventory on whether we had room to grow, and we did. So we brought Rich on. So congratulations. But yeah, I mean, we try to do what makes sense and listen to everybody and try to be the fun place to race, but also kind of keep out unnecessary drama, try to keep the guardrails on it, the training wheels. Like when we have too many cautions in the Grand National Series, we switch to single file restarts, for example. Single file restarts all night tonight didn't seem to really help anything, but I think that's part of what the track itself. It was not the same setup as what we ran last year. I think Apollo realized the springs were 100 pounds different on all 4 corners this year than they were last year. Knew that we were going to be about 3/10 faster this year. So maybe that was part of the issue. We had a little bit more aggressive of a setup this year than we did last year. We had twice as many people interested in running tonight. I think the Cup 05 mod is really drawing a crowd as well. Cup 98 was awesome and fun and great, but it kind of lost its luster after the first year of doing it. So I wanted to try, or Apollo rather, wanted to try something new. And I think people are really, really gravitating towards these Cup 05 bodies. A lot of excitement for the Chargers, for example. Actually, specifically the Chargers. People were really excited about those.
Oh yeah,
we saw a few of those on the grid tonight.
The 05 Charger that I think everybody kind of fell in love with after Slapshoes mentioned in his top 10 like hottest car designs. It's personally my favorite model as well. But I mean, we've been talking about it ad nauseum here tonight, just how beautiful these Cup 05 cars looked. Of course, it's the same mod I use for my offline series here for the Mission Barbecue Cup series, and there's a good reason. Splash and Go Graphics did one hell of a job putting together arguably the greatest NASCAR design right at the top of their game, right at the golden era from NASCAR. And this mod is just absolutely beautiful. And you're able to put it to a solid third place run here tonight, Tyler. And before we'll let you go, we'll give you the chance to thank anybody that you want here for the hat dance. If there's any sponsors you want to shout out here on the NASRN for a third place finisher in tonight's season opener here from the Auto Club Speedway. Tyler, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Trey. And I think we started to lose you there for a moment on my end, at least. And I know I tended to ramble there. Sorry about that.
You're
Just
good,
get a little excited. I don't get in the booth for these top 3 interviews very often, so I got to kind of make the most of it when I do. But yeah, thank you for everything you do, Trey. Thank you to Conway for jumping on board. My father-in-law recently retired from XPO Logistics. But back when Conway was the thing, he was over the road driver for LTL deliveries with Conway, and he got a Conway diecast hauler and all that stuff given to him as a gift from the company. He showed it to me when he heard that I was in the NASCAR, so I had to jump on board with Conway, and
Nice
we'll be
Colin
running
Brown
some.
throwback.
Yeah, it is. It's actually an Excel construction base, but I put the Conway colors on it, and we'll be running some XPO Logistics things in the GNS series in season 10. So excited to bring them on board as partners. Thank you to Nissan Altima SER for bringing a rocket ship tonight. I know we didn't really get a chance to stretch our legs until the last five laps or so there at the end when we were guaranteed to not have any more yellows. But close racing there. Close racing with Blake coming to the white. We got together a little bit there, and I used up whatever run that I had on the top 2, saving the car there. Then almost had something on the final corner as well. I can't remember actually who that was that I got together with, but it was a fun race. Thank you, Apollo, for putting together a really good package. I know you work your heart off to get this Sportsman series put together and in time for everybody to come out and have some fun together. And thank you everybody who showed up. I know there were some people who came out of the woodwork, so to speak, to run with us. So thank you, and hope we did good by you tonight.
Absolutely did put on a heck of a show here tonight. It wasn't the most green flag race, but overall, just watching you guys just go out there on track and just put on one hell of a race once again is always a blast. And hey, seeing these couple of 5 cars on track, it's always a blast here, as we always say. And glad to have you up in the booth again once again, Tyler. We'll see you next Sunday or next Saturday or next Friday. We eventually got there next Friday for race 2. But until then, have a good week, dude, and we'll see what Rockingham for race 2 of Sportsman.
You too, and even the best in the business races like this every so often. So, but thanks again, Trey, for all you do. Have a good night, man.
You as well. Thank you, man.
User was moved
That was
out
Tyler
of your channel.
Stolho, driver the number 7 Conway Freight Nissan Altima for Lap Car Enterprises. Your third place finisher here tonight. Time to bring in our runner-up finisher of the evening.
User
Driving
was
the number
moved to your
37 Kodak Ultramax Dodge Charger. Mr. Vincenzo Focusati, got a copy of us up here in the booth?
That I do, Trey.
Well, it's a little bit deja vu from what we saw on Wednesday night, where for the second consecutive race, taking advantage of a late race restart and a little bit of chaos in the final couple of laps to take another runner-up finish. First and foremost, coming into this race here tonight, we talked about a little bit with Tyler, this new car that looks, it's a lot more advanced. It's got about, a 10-year difference compared to the old Cup 98 cars. A lot of people very excited about this mod, and it definitely drove a lot differently than last year. I just want to get your take on how this car drove just a little bit differently. We did have a little bit more aggressive of a setup with some softer springs, but just want to get your take on just the new car here tonight.
Well, it might have been the year that has passed since last year's Fontana race, but I didn't personally notice any difference in the way it handled. So the change in spring rates must have been just fine, because it felt about the same as last year to me, unless I'm just forgetting. And yeah, last year's setup drove very well, and was looking forward to getting to use it again this year. Paulo made it very stable, very easy to control. The way that you can really hurt yourself with it is by overdriving and overworking the right front, and that is fortunately a problem if you do that to yourself. That's pretty easy to correct. You just have to lift early enough not to push. So made for another great race. I know, like you said, we didn't get a lot of green flag running in, which is really unfortunate, but the racing we did get to do was really fun. And Fontana is a wonderful racetrack. This place is really special to me. I've always enjoyed racing here.
We have always enjoyed watching the racing here as well. It's been kind of the running joke of the last week that putting on a great product like this and trying to prove to NASCAR like for the millionth time that this is not a booming real estate market. But overall, transition talking about the race. We mentioned it. It was a very stoplight race. It was stop and go for pretty much every time for pretty much the entire race up until that final 4 lap run to the end. And as a driver, you know we've seen a couple of races here where things have really gone green throughout the race, but we've also seen a lot of stop and go fest. As a driver, you've been around here a long time. How do you really try and strategize during these stop and go races where you don't really have a chance to really stretch your legs, get the car shaken out, and you're really just going off your practice and happy hour data throughout the race? So how do you really set up your strategy for a long run where you're running just these mini sprint races when the caution comes out?
Yeah, that's the problem with the these stop start races with all the yellows is that um, the real problem is pitting because you just have no idea when you should stay out and when you should come in. Because if you put yourself at the back on fresh rubber, it's all about timing. Will you be able, will all the time you lose by weaving through the entire field, uh, will it be worth it for all the extra speed that you'll get from the rubber? Is it going to work out for or against pitting? And you just never know because by the time you get the first several underway, you completely lose sight of whether or not you can expect a green run. Like, did everyone get it out of our system? Are we going 20 laps to the finish, or will it be 3 lap, 2 lap runs all the way home? You just don't want to be. You don't want to be out front with worn tires, with everybody behind you on fresher rubber, and you don't want to be out back on fresh tires, but you're at the very back. So yeah, Blake and Ike and uh, everyone who I was working with tonight was talking. We were keeping a very close eye on the pit entry and trying to time our moves. Are we gonna pit? Are we gonna not? It depends on what everyone behind us does. Let's keep a hawk eye on them and make our decision at the very last second. Um, it's honestly kind of stress-inducing. You'd think that pacing under yellow would be about as stress-free as you can get in a race car, but it was pretty stress-inducing not knowing till the last second what call to make. Um, so yeah, Blake did a great job. Kenny and Ike did paying attention to that and making the right calls because by the time it came down to under 10 to go, we were all up in the top 8 or so. We were all up there with a chance.
Yeah, and then just walk us through that final restart of the race where, it was just complete chaos. You restarted from the third spot, if I'm not mistaken, and, just in the final couple of laps, it really looked like, which is a little bit like Iowa, just in the ways of just how like the car, like you just got out of the gas a little bit, and everybody just got a massive run on you. Just take us through that final 4 lap run, and then just that run to the finish. There, do you think there's anything you could have done a little bit better, or do you think second was just about as best you could do?
I think I could have done turns 3 and 4 better on 2 to go. I was trying to discipline myself as hard as I possibly could. Because, like I said, pushing the right front is the way you can really mess it up here. And if you have to lift to get it back, you'll just lose. You'll lose so much time down the following straightaway. Um, I didn't do it. I didn't do that super badly, but I did do it just a little bit. Um, Rounding the corner, coming to take the white flag, and uh, I only figured that out on the white flag when I took the corner much better and realized, oh shoot, I wish I'd done that 1 lap ago. But to be honest, even if I'd nailed that corner, I don't know if I could have possibly passed Apollo. I would have had to have gone offline in order to uh, pass her, obviously, and I'm not sure I could have actually driven offline and gone faster than her. I mean, shoot, for all I know, she might have just been taking it easy and letting those few hundredths go every lap just to make sure she brings it home clean. She probably had me covered either way. I don't think there was any way for me to win this race. So yeah, I'm really happy that I got to bring it home where I did. I don't think I was the second to fastest car, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. Although simultaneously really disappointed that so many people I said we were working with Ike and Blake all night long, and it's not just the two of them. So many people had their race go south all at the end, and they have nothing to show for their strong runs. So that's really disappointing, and my heart goes out to them. But hopefully they'll the next race we all show up in together, we'll give it another go, have a clean race, and have a good time again.
Yeah, and looking at the upcoming schedule here, a lot on the horizon. We got a couple of super speedways up there. I know that's right up your alley. On just a lot of opportunities for you guys to really get the job done here. A lot of opportunities for all the three of you from Millennium Autosport to really try and get some momentum here and trying to win this championship. But hey, championships aren't won in a single race. So you still got 11 races to go. And before we let you go, Vincenzo, we'll give you the chance to thank any sponsors you want here. If there's anybody you want to shout out during the hat dance for a runner-up finisher in the AAA Insurance 100, Vincenzo Focusato, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you betcha. Thanks to Apollo. This is her show that she puts on, and she does a lot of work to make it happen. Enjoyed the nice little summer break, and really excited to be back for Sportsman. I think I mentioned last week that I've always been in love with these cars because they were my introduction to car racing. Were the 2003 Monte Carlo Taurus Intrepid and Grand Prix. So a year or two later than those, but effectively the same cars. So it's really fun to be here, and it was really cool to get to see so many awesome liveries out on the track. It's going to be fun to race them all season long. Thank you to the other admins, including Rich, Tyler, and Ike, and Rich. Welcome up to the team, Rich. That's really cool. Really happy for him and excited to see what he gets to do as an admin. Thank you for another broadcast. Glad to have you back here on a Friday night with us. Hope we put on a good show when we had those few green flag runs in there. And yeah, thank you to everyone else who came out tonight. Again, Blake, our teams were a little thin tonight, so we worked together more closely than we normally do, and it was a pleasure to get to work with him. He's a great guy and a great racer, and it's a shame that him and Ike got taken out of it at the end, and RJ much earlier on. It was a blast working with him too, and it sucks that he had to drop out of the race so early from all that damage he suffered. Shout out to anyone at Team EFR who might be watching, anyone in the family, Dad, Gail, hope you guys are doing great. Cameron, Andrew, yeah, always a lot of people to thank. Always takes a minute to spit them all out, but yeah, a lot of people to be thankful for. So yeah, I hope I didn't forget anyone.
Absolutely, and it's always a pleasure to have you up in here, the booth, post race Vincenzo, for the second time in a row here for a second place run. And we'll see you next week down North Carolina at the Rockingham Speedway. That's going to be a ton of fun from the Sand Hills of North Carolina. But until then, have a good week, dude, and we'll see you at Rockingham next week for race 2.
I almost forgot we're at Rockingham. Let's go.
That's going to be so much fun. Another track that we need to prove to NASCAR that's not in a booming real estate market.
Let's rock and roll. I'm looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have a good one, dude.
You too, Trey. Thank you.
User was moved out of
That was Vincenzo Focusato, driver of the number 37 Kodak Ultramax Dodge Charger for Millennium Autosport, your runner-up finisher here tonight. It's time to bring in the lady of the hour.
User was
It
moved
was
to
fun.
your channel.
Driver of the number 100 Waste Management Ford Fusion for Marvelous Racing, Miss Apollo Hyde. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth.
I certainly do.
Well, that was a dominant race for you tonight. Very similar to your performance in last year's race here at the Auto Club Speedway. And first and foremost, congratulations for winning the season opening race here at Auto Club for the AAA Insurance 100. I think it definitely feels good to be back in victory lane, and it feels good to not have Dunlop Rod in the server, so you can be the dominant car out there tonight. Congratulations, first and foremost.
I think it just feels good to put a clean race together. I haven't really put a full race together in about a month. So usually something will happen to me mid-race. I'll either get involved in some sort of incident or wreck, or I spin myself out, or I get side by side with someone, get tight, hit the wall, do something else. It was just no nonsense tonight. We just went out there, did our thing, put a full race together. And good things happen when we do that. We need to put more full races together.
Absolutely, and what a way to kick off the season with a dominant win here tonight, leading 30 laps on the evening, if I'm not mistaken. We'll double check that. 37 on the evening, to be more specific. But coming into this race, a lot of new changes were on compared to last year's race. We're talking about it during practice. Number one, bringing in the brand new SNG05 car mod. It is an absolutely perfect mod just about in every single way, from presentation, from how it looks, to how it races, to how it sounds as well. Bringing a new setup to tonight's race, where it created a lot of downforce, a lot of grip for these drivers, and of course a much larger field than last year. Last season we had 12 drivers race here at Auto Club. This year we had 21. So given all those changes, coming into tonight's race, just how did that really change your approach to coming into tonight?
I honestly, I don't think it really changed the approach much at all. The only real different approach that I had is that I found something in practice in regards to shifting the car when the car was on old tire wear, and I hadn't done that in the previous 2 races. And I only used the downshifting on that last run, and honestly, it didn't really help me. My car was pretty undrivably tight on that last run. I'm pretty lucky that the cars with fresher tires kind of got involved with a little bit of nonsense behind me. I think I would have been a sitting duck.
Absolutely, and we nearly saw that on that final restart. And you just to walk us through that final restart with 4 laps to go. It was really a start and stop race pretty much all throughout tonight. But just that final restart with 4 to go, you and Emmy Schizzato were the dominant cars tonight. You led for a combined somewhere in the ballpark of, I think, 45 laps between the two of you guys, and you led pretty much every single lap under the green flag conditions between the two of you. Just walk us through that final restart. He got the jump over the 97, and then overall just watching the chaos in the rear view as you had the checkers flying in the air in front of you.
Yeah, more listening to the chaos behind me because I hear all the radio chatter going on, but I could tell you I'm not too concerned about what's going on in my rearview mirror unless someone's just about to pass me. I'm trying to keep my eyes forward. But one thing I do have to say is that this is now the third straight Sportsman race where we've come to Fontana. We've led the most laps. And we've converted 2 of those into wins. The one that we didn't convert into a win was due to a pretty savvy strategy call that unfortunately didn't go our way, to say the least. But on that last restart there, I knew that Emmy pretty much had the same car I was. It was a question of how good was that 37? And the 37 didn't seem like that he was any better or any worse than I was. So I'm just thinking, all right, I just need to make sure I get off of turn 2, don't spin the car out. I didn't. And I knew that all I needed to do was just make sure I didn't allow anybody to get to the outside, because the outside was really, really nice. I wanted to use the outside to defend any passes, especially in turns 1 and 2. The middle line was just working really well for our car all night long. And I knew as long as I had control of what line I was going into the corner with, we were going to have a pretty good chance at winning, whether if I had a strong car or not. But I could tell once we got to 3 to go, and especially with 2 to go, that my car was just undrivably tight. It really, really lost a lot of its drivability there on that last restart. I'm not quite sure what ended up happening. Maybe I drove it too hard in the first lap or 2 of that restart, but yeah, that car was really, really miserable to drive in the final couple of laps. I was really hanging on there.
Absolutely. It looked like a lot of the field was holding on those older tires, but you were able to really get the job done here tonight for the first race of 12 in Season 5. And again, looking at the upcoming schedule here for the rest of the season with the final 11 races, we've got quite the slate of tracks. We've got Rockingham coming up next week and Myrtle Beach rounding out the next fortnight of races. But, just looking down this schedule, what tracks do you think are going to be really fan favorites? What tracks do you think are going to be driver favorites? Of course, we know Las Vegas is always going to put on a hell of a show. We got Lexington on here, Daytona. We've got Grand Junction once again for a lot of super speedways, a lot of road courses as well. So what can we really expect from, both a driver's perspective as, oh, there's going to be a track I'm so excited for, and a fan's perspective where I'm so excited for this race, but the drivers are going to be crapping themselves. Just what can we expect in Season 5?
Yeah, of course. So I think there's really a good mix of just about anything. So, of course, we've got our super speedway packages with Daytona and Grand Junction that are not just really good drivers packages, but they also tend to put on a pretty good show for the fans as well. We've got our road courses with Sears Point and Old Spice. We're going to be running the carousel at Sears Point, so it's going to add an extra level of difficulty for the drivers that have not done too many laps on the carousel layout. It's really, in my opinion, it's not any more difficult than the regular shoot layout of Sonoma, except it actually adds a overtaking point on the track. Adds 2 of them, actually, because turn 4 with the shoot layout is a terrible passing point, but turn 4 with the carousel layout is actually a pretty nice overtaking point. So, to each their own. That'll pretty much be a split decision, but of course, Las Vegas, it's definitely a fan's track. It's going to be very much in the vein of tonight, where if we were able to put together some green flag laps, we would have had a really awesome show for everyone, and we could see it there when we got those longer, like 5 or 6 lap runs. We were really mixing it up in the front, I would say 8 or 9 positions. But we just weren't able to see how it would develop a long term, unfortunately. If we get one of those green flag runs at Las Vegas, we already know that's going to put on the show. Hillside and Rockingham kind of fall in, and Homestead as well. Those 3 tracks really fall into the same bucket of, they're probably not going to be the greatest spectacle for the fans because these are very high tire wear tracks. We're going to be running a second and a half per lap off of what we would be qualifying with at those tracks when we're racing. You really have to tiptoe around all 3 of those tracks to try to prevent the tires from completely melting off. And at least with Homestead, you have a multi-groove track that can create some interesting final lap action. But with Hillside and Rockingham, it's very typically a 1-groove type of track. Pretty difficult to pass at both of them. So really the passing is done with the tire strategy at those tracks mainly. So we'll see how those come along. And then, of course, we have fun tracks in terms of Lexington and Papyrus Motorsport Park. Both of those very unique layouts. Lexington, probably the best comparison in layout would be the beginner track of Daytona USA. It's pretty similar with a wide radius but low banked turns 1 and 2, and a very sharp radius but high banked turns 3 and 4, and you actually take them at roughly the same speed because of that. So it creates a very interesting environment where turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4 are just very radically different. And tire wear isn't too harsh at the track. And then Papyrus Motorsports Park is just weird. It's kind of like a super speedway, but it's in road course form.
We know how weird Papyrus is here on the NASRN.
Yeah. So the Papyrus Motorsport Park is just a super duper fun track. It's one of those tracks that you kind of need to see to describe, because you have high speed banked corners, both left and right handers. You never go below like 145 miles an hour around the track. And lap times are over a minute. I think the track's somewhere in the range of 4 miles long. But you're just flying
3.77 to be exact.
There you go. 3.7 miles. And you're just flying around this track. You're going over 200 miles an hour, probably getting close to 210 miles an hour if you're drafting on that front straightaway.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the corners are flat out, but you do have 2 corners that are pretty heavy braking zones, pretty good passing opportunities. And there's not a whole lot of tire wear at that track either. So it's probably going to be one of those tracks that I think is going to be pretty fun to watch as a spectator. And when we're driving it, it's probably going to be like, oh, how long can I actually keep the right front tire on this car without it blowing on me?
Because the loads you get at Papyrus are insane. I think the fastest we had with an AI car at 107 difficulty was 111.9. Back in the NBCS race with, ironically, the same exact mod. So it's going to be the second time in 2026 we see these SNG05 cars at Papyrus, and such a ton of fun stuff coming down the pipeline as per usual here in Sportsman, and we cannot wait. But you personally as a driver, getting things off in the right direction and trying to get that second championship and trying to get your 5th championship in Fuel Proper. So congratulations once again on the win here this evening. Before we let you go and celebrate with your teammates, you know the drill. Apollo will we'll give you the time to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anybody else you want to shout out here on the NESRN for a race winner, the season openers for Season 5 of the Fuel Sportsman Series, Miss Apollo High, the floor is yours.
I definitely want to give a big shout out to all my friends that are currently partying it up at Otakon. That must be really fun right now. I'm not going to lie. The big Japanese music festival in Washington, D.C., and anime convention altogether, but they have a big music festival section to it. So I know a lot of people are currently enjoying that right now. I know a bunch of people that are performing in that. It's probably a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it down there, but yeah, I hope that everyone that is down there in Washington, D.C. right now are having the time of their lives. I hope that all the performances out there are performing their hearts out to the best of their ability. And I hope to see some of those faces when they come up for Colossal Con East up in the Pocono Mountains, because that's going to be pretty awesome as well. But yeah, that's my main shout out. Otakon is pretty cool, and I'm a little bummed I can't go, but I know a lot of people are having fun there.
Absolutely. You know, it doesn't matter where you're having fun as long as people are having fun. And we had a lot of fun here watching these SNG05 cars tonight. But congratulations to you, Apollo, once again for getting the job done here tonight. Got one win checked off the box, and ideally you'll try and get 11 more to get this second championship. But we'll go ahead and let you celebrate with your team. I know it's past midnight here. It's officially August on the NESRN. So we'll let you go down and party it up with your guys. Congratulations once again. Woo! We'll see you next week at Rockingham.
I feel so good I can call a scammer and mess with them. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Have a good one, man.
User left your channel.
That was Apollo High, driver the number 100 Waste Management. Ford Fusion, your winner of the season opener here at the Auto Club Speedway. And like I said, it's officially August, which means that today, in about 19 and a half hours' time, it's going to be time for the Grand National, or the NR2003 2026 running of the Great American Big One tonight. I guess tomorrow night as well. I mean, it is technically tonight, so tonight, in about 19 and a half hours' time, the Great American Big One will finally kick off in the Talladega Superspeedway. 110 cars, 3 races, a C-main where these cars are going to be going 285 miles an hour with no damage, 250-mile-an-hour cars for the B-main, and a 494-lap, 250-mile event that you are not going to want to miss tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be about 3 hours long, and we cannot wait for it. That, of course, is then, this is now. We cannot wait. I feel like I've said that about 3 or 4 times. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off here for the final little bit of tonight's broadcast. And like we're talking about, next time we'll see the Sportsman Series will be in 1 week time for the Rockingham Speedway on Friday, August 7th at 9:50 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on your home for the Fuel Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. But before we go ahead and get things done here, we'll go over your finishing results from the AAA Insurance 100 here at the Auto Club Speedway. Apollo Hyde wins by 0.127 seconds over Vincenzo Focusato. She led 37 laps on the evening to claim her 8th career victory. Vincenzo Focusato finishes in 2nd, and Tyler Stallhood rounded out the podium in 3rd. Crystal Bennett finished in 4th, Kenny Campos finished in 5th, Keon Daly was 6th, Sean T finished in 7th, Ace Racer was in 8th, Ike Durbin finished 9th, and Jason Stereo rounded out the top 10. Rafaela Sorensen finished in 11th. Hunter Nelson was 12th. Brie Lazaga finished in the 13th position, while Blake Warren dropped down to 14th. Drew Fest was in 15th. Minnie Minister finished in 16th. Emmy Schizzato dropped down after a late race crash to 17th. Sean Douglas was the first car out of the race, finishing in 18th. Tate Dorsey was 19th. And RJ Bishop, after flipping early in the race, rounded out the top 20, finishing in 20th. Corey Stallhood rounded out the 21-car field for tonight's season opener for Moto Club. And that'll do it for tonight's broadcast here on the NASRN. Like we're talking about, Rockingham coming up next Friday night. Great American, big one coming up tonight here on the NASRN at 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be a ton of fun. Had a week of qualifying. We even had a race earlier today, tape delayed from last night. And it's going to be so much fun. Go ahead and watch that when you can. But on behalf of Apollo Hyde for the Fuel Sportsman Series, for Tyler Stolhood for the Fuel Racing League in general, and everybody here at the NASRN, my name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Fontana, California. This has been a presentation of the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Fuel Racing League. We'll see y'all in 1 week's time, live from the Rockingham Speedway in the Sand Hills of North Carolina. Until then, have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see y'all when we see y'all. And have a good night. Enjoy your week.